Hello and welcome back. It's the 6th day of the placement rounds, but we're already in match number 3. J-Mac here with Ryan and Anatoly here on the analyst desk, bringing you guys Obey versus Rival. We are in one of the first placement matches, but before we go into it, we're going to go ahead and cut it to the bracket to just kind of break down what has happened so far today.
Space Station Gaming able to take out Insignum to wrap things up in that last set, but before that, a very epic best-of-3 between Mousesports and Trifecta going the distance.
That was epic, that's for sure, but it wasn't Mousesports punching their ticket to DreamHack. It was Trifecta who ended up making sure that they'll be here between the 16th and the 18th.
Well, we're now split down the middle. 2 North American and 2 European teams are going to be making it to the world stage here. As we go on to the upper side of the bracket, you can see Obey and Rival is the match that we're going to be going into next. So we're going to have an even split down the middle at World. It's going to be 4 European, 4 North American squads.
This is going to be critical, though, this seeding matchup for Obey and Rival here. Now, we won't have to worry about the winners finals or anything like that. This will be the final match that Obey and Rival play so far this week, but this has a lot riding on it. The winner of this plays the 4th overall seed that already qualified for DreamHack. That would be Splice. The loser of this set, Anatoly, has to go up against Energy.
And honestly, it's hard to say which team you would rather face, because Energy is not going to have Yaman at HRX, but Splice is an unpredictable team in its own right. I think a Yaman-less Energy is still a dominant Energy at the end of the day, and Splice is so unpredictable that all the strategies you face so far at the placements might not be shown at the actual HRX.
And that's the important thing here is the differences that we've seen. We've seen so many roster potential shakeups here. You know, there's the threat that Prime wasn't even going to be here at one point. Now we're not going to have Yaman here for NRG, and then Splice just being as crazy as Splice is. It's going to be a little bit ridiculous, honestly.
It will be. Once you make it to DreamHack, it's going to be hard, no matter who you're playing. There is no more easy matchup for you, and there's no loser's bracket either, so you have to make every single game count.
Well, we're going to go ahead and come over to the interview with the players, see what they've got to say for us.
Hi, how you guys doing? Standing here with PrettyPriMe, having some fun before the game, of course, but when it gets time to the battlefield, everything's going to be a little bit more serious. So thinking about it, actually, that's a good question. Are you guys having some fun? Are you taking it easy, or is this a super serious moment for you?
We're gonna try to win, obviously, but we're also gonna try out stuff try out new stuff, because there's no better place to try it than on stage.
Right. I mean, there's no other type to really replicate that practice. So as you come into it, Rival, you've played these guys in the regular season. What's different about this stage here?
They usually turn up on LAN, so they're usually harder to beat on LAN. I guess that's the biggest difference.
So going into this, is there a different set of preparation skills that you use, or is it just business as usual?
To be honest, we didn't prep that much, honestly. We just know what we want to try out, see if the comps work before we go in.
Fantastic. Well, it's been working out for you so far. We'll see if it works out together. Congratulations and good luck.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
I like the honesty into that one. Is we didn't really prep coming into this match, but to be honest, they don't really need to, because as he said, this is just seeing what works before they go onto the world stage.
And it doesn't matter if it's against Splice or NRG. It's going to be a tricky matchup in this one, and it's a good way to go about it, because you need to figure out the most amount of strategies in your playbook to get ready for the biggest stage. And Rival's LAN experience so far in Season 5 has been a good track record, winning spring, 2nd place in the summer, making it all the way the distance in fall.
Now remember, as I mentioned, loser of this plays up against Energy, and Obey's looked pretty good against Energy so far this year, so I think that Obey's willingness to experiment is well warranted, because I don't think they should put too much pressure on themselves during this matchup. I think that the uncertainty of Splice is a little bit scary for them, and I think they'd be fine going up against Energy. Not to say that Obey won't go all out or won't try and win, but I don't think they feel a lot of pressure in this moment.
Player mentality, you don't want to put yourselves in a non-momentum position, right? You want to go into the biggest stage with a win under your belt.
And that's the big factor here, and we're going to see if Obey can bring a win under their belt. But more importantly, we got Rival on the phone here. Coach Alpha Jackal standing by with the interview.
Here we are with Alpha Jackal, a little bit more ready. As far as your game, are you guys ready?
Yeah, we're ready, and we're hoping to take the win.
So biggest deal here is when you're looking at you in the competition is that you're here as opposed to last time LAN was around. We speculate a lot. Was there a big difference when you weren't here for your team?
I think there was a big difference. I don't know if it was enough of a difference to change the outcome of the LAN, as I said many times, but I do feel that my presence is it changes the team a bit.
And so now that you're here, how have things been different for you guys during HRX placements?
I feel we actually recognize and learn from our mistakes a lot better than we do when I'm not here.
Well, everything's been looking fantastic. Going up against Obey specifically, is there anything different that you've done to prepare for them on LAN versus online?
Nothing too different, especially in today's matchup. We know that win or lose, we're still going to be at HRX, so we shouldn't be revealing anything new today, and we're going to be saving our real strategy in case we come up against them in Grand Finals.
You still want to beat the hell out of them, though?
Oh, definitely. This is going to be a win for us.
Fantastic. Always glad to hear the confidence and the competitive edge. That's Alpha Jackal, coach of Team Rival. We'll catch you back at the desk.
Well, you heard it there. Rival wants the 2 over Obey, and who doesn't want the 2-0 victory over Obey? They've been a dominant powerhouse for a long time with some of these players here, especially PrettyPriMe has been one of those ones here, but we've always seen some really silly stuff out of Rival here. Do you think that we're going to see just the same normal stuff that we've seen, or do you think that they're actually going to play a little more normalized?
Well, from his words, Alpha Jackal, he says, like, we're just going to do the same thing we've been doing, but that might not necessarily be the true case. But speaking of honesty, I like the way he mentioned that they weren't going to win against Energy during the summer. They could not be stopped. It felt like the pure fire was right under them.
Well, this Rival team is definitely setting themselves up to have a really, really strong HRX and really might be returning back to the form that we saw them at last year's Smite World Championships. It's just a matter of if they can get everything rolling in their favor yet again.
And I think that the biggest matchup to look at is that 2 players on your screen, the mid laners, Wlfy on the right for Rival, PrettyPriMe for Obey.
PrettyPriMe has been one of the staple pieces here for this Obey squad, usually coupled up with him and his jungler. And Wlfy has had a lot of flack thrown his way, but honestly, he's really been showing up to perform on this LAN, and this matchup is going to be crucial for both of these teams.
I think that a lot of it comes down to the immobile picks that PrettyPriMe really likes to take for himself, and there's a complete 180 style for Wlfy. He really likes these unorthodox iceices from time to time. He'll play the Giannis, which PrettyPriMe doesn't really prefer, so I don't think in picks and bans that there's going to be much competition over that mid role.
I do think there's one pick that'll be heavily contested between the two, and that's Opwash. Both of these mid laners have played it a decent amount during the online. Wlfy's played it on LAN. This pick in general has been hotly contested. I think that a lot of teams have really struggled to learn how to play around a god that hasn't been meta in a long, long time.
Opwash has certainly been on the rise this week. We've seen a lot of gods just kind of pop up on this LAN meta. Fenrir, Opwash, Odin has also seen a strong resurgence as well with this one. RTO and Terra have always been gods that have kind of been on the fallback to here. Do you think it's just these mid lane, this mid lane Opwash that's going to be the hot pick? I mean, I imagine Zeus might be up for contest for a ban, maybe?
For PrettyPriMe, yes. I would assume that if Rival don't want to deal with it, that they might take that as a throwaway ban, depending on what they would rather deal with against. But if you're banning away the Zeus, then you're going to leave Vulcan open for PrettyPriMe as well, something that he's very known for, even getting a skin for it after that Season 1 Titan performance. I'm more looking at potentially the Hunter matchups. Vote versus Ataraxia. They really prefer this Freya Jingwei recently.
Ataraxia much more passive in the lane, and he's probably going to hate me for saying that yet again, but Vote is just one of the most aggressive hunters in Europe. When I think of aggressive hunters in Europe, I think of Vote, and I think of Emilito. And traditionally, Vote would really like to take gods that can fight in lane. I just don't know that Ataraxia will give him that satisfaction.
As we're getting ready to go into the picks and bans here, we talked about the mid, we talked about the duo lane here. Solo lane is also going to be a matchup. Xaliea versus Deathwalker. Both of them have had pretty similar priorities towards their solo lane picks this season.
I agree. I think that when you're looking at these 2 players individually, their styles have some similarities, but very unorthodox style from both of them in their own right. Going for more of a Guardian's Blessing as of recent meta shifts, trying to get the most out of your gold per minute. I think that it's all about who makes the biggest rotational factor. Neither of them are going to make a play at each other in the laning phase. It's also going to come down to the jungle role. Who can influence that role to get some blue buff invades?
Both Twig and iceice have had great moments so far this LAN. You don't get to the top end of the bracket finals and not have a great LAN out of your jungler, because the league right now and the way the meta has shaken down, is so dependent on where these junglers are playing.
And I think that's a big testament to really both of these teams is there's not one single player that you can put any kind of focus into, even down to the support role. There is a lot of puzzle pieces for both of these teams that really have to fit together.
I agree. I think this could be an Odin-Mercury contest between both of these two junglers, and you were alluding to the support. Callus here up against iRaffer, very aggressive in their own nature.
We're getting ready to go up into the picks and bans here for game number 1, Obey versus Rival. Remember, neither of these teams are getting knocked out. They are both still here to qualify for HRX. This is just for seeding purposes.
And again, it's important though. Splyce takes the winner of this match, Energy the loser. So there's still plenty riding on this set, even though both of these teams are going to end up going to DreamHack.
Both of these teams might be hiding some of their strategies, as they were alluding to on the interviews. I don't expect them to do anything too far-fetched from what they've done between days 1 through 5.
Freya is the first god taken away by Obey, not wanting to give that one over to Vote, and more than importantly, just one of the hot ban gods here along with Mercury and Odin.
Odin definitely is a good ban if you're wanting to go for Erlang Shen, Pele, gods that can't really escape that Odin cage. It allows more safety for the Zeuses and the Alpwash for PrettyPriMe as well.
Erlang Shen banned, both junglers banned by Rival, the top 2 so far in this tournament. Pele's right there with them, but teams have just been a little bit less likely to take that, it feels like. And we have arrived, ladies and gentlemen. We are in first pick Fenrir territory.
This is just the accumulation of all the shifts between these best of 3 series between days 1 through 5. Now as we approach day 6, the 2 teams that are still in the upper bracket finals, first picking the Fenrir, a god that's been very aggressive in the support role.
Support role is really where we have seen this Fenrir for the majority. We did see Andy take it into the jungle previously, though with this first pick, it still leaves a lot open and up on the table for them. Not necessarily saying that this is going over to iRaffer. This could very well go on to Twig. It does fit his playstyle, very aggressive, but can also be more supportive towards that late game.
One of the things that makes Erlang first pick so strong is that it's got 3 different roles it can flex into. It can be support, it can be jungle, and it can be solo. And Fenrir has all those same qualities. You can put it really almost anywhere on the map.
I agree, and this is going to force Rival to worry about that Ragnarok, so you're going to need to maybe even pick up a beat if you're on the support role, making sure that you're not going to get focused from the get-go. It might deter you from picking up a Sylvanas from getting out of position too often and thinking about getting those beats, like I said.
Sun Wukong picked up in the first pick phase here by Rival. We've seen it a couple times as a somewhat kind of counter matchup to a Baron Somni previously. Fine OK really being the only one bringing it out here, but so early on in the draft, what about this Wukong?
The Wukong, I think, not favored for Xaliea on Obey, but Deathwalker heavily prefers it to the point where he'll go an unorthodox build, go for the Soul Eater, trying to get some ability lifesteal alongside the Gladiator Shield, and whether or not that Pele is going to go in the Soul Lane, there's a lot of safe clear from the Sun Wukong and just a lot of mobility to make that first impactful rotation in the mid lane.
3 strong picks off the bat by Obey, but all 3 are physical damage, so now they need to get some more balance in their draft with these next 2 selections, regardless of where this Fenrir or Pele are going.
Same can be said about Rival. With the Awilix locked in, this is more than likely going to go in the hands of iceicebaby, unless they're really trying to be spicy in their picks. I like it because Neith, with the backflip, very easy to pull in. Same can be said about Fenrir.
We have seen Awilix mid once. I believe that was Baskin who pulled that one out. I don't think that Wlfy would pull this one out, but it's not entirely out of the realm of possibilities here. But I like the Awilix. It's into the Fenrir. He has to prioritize his leap for initiation or for escape. And same with Neith, who has one of the most telegraphed leaps in the game with that backflip. Very easy to catch her out.
Taco was alluding to it behind the scenes. I'm like, where's Awilix with all this Odin picks recently and with a little bit of Fenrir as well in the supports? I think teams are either forgetting about Awilix or haven't practiced with it enough to be comfortable on this stage. So the fact that Rival are locking in now in day 6 in the upper bracket finals to determine your seeding towards hi-rez Expo shows the confidence coming from Ice.
Remember, Ice did play this up against Space Station the other day, so it isn't the first time we've seen it from him, and I also really like it in conjunction with the Wukong. Wukong doesn't need to be there as your knock-up setup guy, but in the solo lane, if it's up against a Guardian or something else that doesn't have a leap, you can still set up for that gravity surge very easily with 72 transformations.
But, I mean, that's one of the things is Awilix isn't a god you typically practice. You don't expect this kind of a meta to really thrive up here onto the land. Fenrir and Odin just kind of came out of left field more than anything. So having Ice constantly be in practice with this Awilix has worked out for him on this land specifically, as these final bans are coming through 2 targeted bans towards the mid lane. Zeus just against PrettyPriMe, but more importantly, Alpwash.
Both of these teams needing their Guardian / Mage, and Vulcan is the selection. Makes a lot of sense, because if you're focusing on PrettyPriMe, you ban away that Alpwash and the Zeus, you take away the Vulcan. I could expect him to go into the Raijin as a counter response.
And that's a Vulcan, that's another knockup for you on that Awilix. So I really like that. The Giannis was there for the mobility, but it wouldn't have provided that knockup. I'm sure Obey was considering the Vulcan ban, but decided to go with the Giannis instead, feeling like if you already have this many leaps and a knockup from Wukong, Rival doesn't really need more knockups, and more setup usually isn't what they'll need. So giving them the Vulcan feels a little bit weird on paper, but Fenrir, Neith, anyone around Wukong, they're already in such danger that I think that the Giannis would have provided more to Rival anyways.
This Scylla pick is going to be risky, because that's another target for the Awilix pull. It's a little tricky to really whittle your way around that jungle pick, and you're looking for damage, you're looking for burst, you're looking for safety, but then it's also a non-safety factor with that Awilix ult.
I like the switch away from the Cerberus. Now looking at Kuzenbo is another god that had a leap to it to where Awilix would be able to counter it out. So Obey throwing those out there, thinking about it, but then maybe going, oh wait, there's an Awilix over there. Let's reconsider this one. They swapped off the Scylla to the Habwa being hovered. The Kuzenbo locked in.
I like the Habwa selection. It just provides more mobility. They ban away the Giannis, taking that away from Rivals. Yeah, but that water carpet provides them a good little amount of escape / engagements, especially when Awilix is going to jump in. It takes a long time to do anything once you land, unless you're immediately feather stepping without basic attacking. That the water spout is a factor.
Plus, Obey gets a couple knockups for themselves. They look at Rival's draft, go, hey, knockups seem pretty good. We should try and get some of our own. So they lock in 2 more towards the back end of the draft. Kuzenbo also could have been selected here by Rival, as they still need a support or a solo laner, depending on where that Wukong is going to go. So I think Kuzenbo could have been on Rival's radar, much like Vulcan may have been on Obey's.
Kuzenbo is a good matchup against the Vulcan as well, because he drops the big ultimate on top, you pop the shell spikes, and you just reflect all that damage right back to him. But
no way.
Hovering this hell, you're saying no way.
It's a hell support. It's got to be. If it's going to be locked in, taking a page from Milsey's book.
Do you think Deathwalker is saying, give me this or don't? I think this is going to be Wukong support. I don't think you can play hell solo or hell support right now. This feels like Wukong support hell solo to me.
I like that idea more, because as some Wukong is rotating, that's going to synergize with that Awilix jungle to look for easier knockups. Hell in the solo lane is risky, not the highest of health pools or protections. Could get focused out, especially if it's going to be either Pele or the Fenrir for the jungler, CaptainTwig.
Plus, you can cleanse yourself and your teammates out of that Ragnarok ultimate or the Unchained stun. The knockup coming from Pele is very telegraphed. Cleanses of CC like Geb Shield, like Hell Cleanse, like Chiron Cleanse are best against long telegraphed CCs, and Obey kind of fits the bill on a lot of those.
Well, Rival definitely not showing a normal draft here, but I don't think that they're really showing their hand at any of these matchups either. These are all just kind of, it feels like they have an idea, but they just kind of flexed around the god pool to see what can we play today.
I actually like Rival's draft, if I'm being honest. If they can make it to the mid to late game, where the point that Hell is going to become a factor, if Hell does not fall behind early, I think Rival win.
It could be really, really scary, but at the same time, you have to worry about Pele and Fenrir and Neith and these early game physical damage dealers that can really kill this Hell pretty efficiently early on. I agree with Tolly. If Hell can get to the late game, then I think Rival has a really good shot, but that's a big if for me.
And at the same time, we still don't know exactly where this Wukong is going. You never know here with Team Rival. Let's find out exactly where this matchup is going. Casters, take it away.
Thanks, J-Mac. We absolutely will. Obey up against Team Rival. Remember, their tickets to DreamHack are already secure, but this is a matter of seeding. The winner of this one, the #1 seed overall, would be going up against Splice. The loser would be the 2nd seed. That would put them up against Energy.
A Yamanless Energy at that, which is still going to be pretty interesting to see who Energy decide to bring into that mid lane role. But either way, Rival, there's one thing for sure that we can make out already from this composition. They are not trying to reveal any of the world strategies.
No, I don't think so at all. This might be a bit of a chance for these two teams to even experiment a little bit, as Ataraxia has the Pele in the duo lane with along with the Fenrir. They also have the Vulcan over here is the Vulcan ADC, Wlfy, taking the Ram into the middle lane. So definitely some different stuff from Obey and Rival today.
Pretty unconventional choices from both sides, but these two teams, if there's ever a moment to experiment with things and see if you can find pressure points that might work out better than the standard norms, then why not test them out?
There's definitely no reason not to go for it as Ataraxia gets good damage on Devote. Collis as well needs to be careful. He's playing the Sun Wukong in the support.
I can't be the only one that heard how many noms were in that skin.
It's this Fenrir skin. It's a great skin. It's having a good time. In fact, iRaffer having a real good time. He's considering stopping this purple buff. He has jumped in time, but the purple buff still standing. Horrific to give himself a bit of an advantage here. And so far, he's almost grabbed it, but unable to stop them. Collis secures the buff.
iRaffer, though, still looking to heckle Callis out there before he can make it back to the lane. I think he was just trying to prevent Callis from getting any of the creeps from the previous wave. Ataraxia, though, the whole time that iRaffer was there harassing Rival's duo lane on the purple buff, he was just steadily farming away on that creep wave. He got the entirety of that wave and most of it to himself.
Things shouldn't look too bad then on the side of Obey as a result of that early duo lane. Well, talk to me a little bit then, Taco, about Pele as your ADC. I mean, what can she do for you here in the lane? Can she just get a bunch of pressure and bully them out as the Tiger Stun very nearly sets up some problems?
If it wasn't for the Vulcan ADC, I think this Pele would be working out a lot better than how it's going to probably shake out, Finch, because it's just so hard when you're a melee range guy trying to get into range of these magical carries. And right now, though, Vote under a little bit of pressure here from iRaffer, but the Horrific has been popped from Callis. He's looking to go in, but he went Eagle form over the Tiger Stun.
Yeah, I imagine that was not the call there from Collis. You can see him laughing in the player cam a little bit there, too. So that might have been a potential kill on the level 1 iRaffer that instead ends up dropped. Here in the jungle, though, is iceicebaby, but he'll realize that purple and red are already down.
Too much flick of the wrist going on right now, but the Tiger Stun is going to be good on that Unchained connection from iRaffer. So he'll be cut short in his aggression, and Ataraxia could be paying the ultimate price here if he's not careful, but Vote only with the turret and the backfire, just not enough damage right away to bring either of them down.
And Ice thinks better of diving the tier 1 tower 2 minutes into the game and elects to instead head towards Oracle. So Ataraxia and iRaffer should be okay for now. Elsewhere on the map, we do have a Hell being piloted by Deathwalker. Not too odd to have the Hell here in the solo lane. And as you heard Totally say, if this Hell can comfortably make it to the late game, it is very difficult to stop.
Usually, but then you see CaptainTwig on the Habois, and if there's one guy who's excellent at bringing down squishy mages, it is always going to be this Habois. So I think that'll be CaptainTwig on Hell Patrol duty as the match plays out.
It is hard to heal up damage when it's all been done to you at once, and you're already dead. So that is one good answer to it. She's a much better at responding with those poke trades and those slow engages rather than being bursted all at once. But that's going to be the focus for Deathwalker, trying to stay away from Twig on this Hebo.
I'm more interested in this mid lane matchup because it feels like this is what should have been happening in duo.
Yes.
But before the experimentation came into play here for Obey and Rival alike. But I like seeing the Ram versus the Neith because initially, PrettyPriMe can be expected to have the lane pressure as a Neith Spirit Arrow just a little bit better clear after level 1. Wlfy's got those astral arrows, but he's not going to be able to maintain that same level of clear over PrettyPriMe.
Right, that's probably only just a very first level advantage for Wlfy with those astral arrows. Afterwards, Prime should be in a pretty good spot on this Neith. And he is leaning into this ability-based side of the Neith, has the Mage's Blessing, starting to work on the Transcendence next, as opposed to the more traditional build from Wlfy, who looks like he'll be trying to get those Devourer's Gauntlets.
A lot of setup, though, for iceicebaby on this Awilix. Normally, you
Yes.
don't see this much emphasis towards setting up for that gravity surge, but you've got the Magma Bomb from Vote to rely on. There's even the Ox Form for Collis in that 72 transformations of the Sun Wukong. So some good stuff, I think, if Rival are able to line up their crowd control into iceicebaby's pool, then they could possibly burst down a single member of Obey before they have a chance to respond. And I also just like the Gravity Surge in general against Neith and Fenrir.
Yes, it's very good into those matchups too with their leaps as the Aegis keeps Deathwalker alive, but he gets removed all at once. First blood for Obey Alliance. They take down the Hell, but iceicebaby will make him pay with an immediate response.
Great job catching out CaptainTwig with that Moonlight charge right as Twig had turned away because he needed to. I think he wanted to place down the water carpet, but just could not get out in time. Really well played for iceicebaby to find any sort of return kill.
And they needed it. You can't afford to let this Hebo, this Hambois, freely farm and find early kills. He can just as easily get out of control like this Hell can. So a nice response from iceicebaby. Gets him a kill. And he lives to be able to continue farming on the map. Has the Warrior Tabi done and is running around the map.
So how much Pele ADC do you think Ataraxia's put up?
Like in scrims, probably not a ton. I would wager not much. 3 games, maybe.
3 games?
If even.
I'll give it 2.
Yeah, maybe 2. As the snipe's not quite going to connect there from Wlfy. But this is a chance to try to get to the best competition as Collis gets pulled right back in to the Volcanic Lightning. The easiest kill Ataraxia will ever get on the Pele.
Doesn't get more simple than that. Ragnarok straight into the Pele damage, and not quite as bursty as you might have originally expected, but I do think that it was a wise choice for Ataraxia to get that last hit.
Yeah, give that kill over to Ataraxia on the Pele and let him farm up, but he's going right into the Soul Eater, has the blink as well, so he can play it aggressive. If he gets in trouble in lane, he won't have the beads or the Aegis to help him out. But maybe this means he'll be rotating more often and looking for blink initiation.
Rom could really struggle up against this Pele if Ataraxia were to start looking for some early game flanks, and I wouldn't put it past Ataraxia to not want to stick around in duo for much longer. Vote on this Vulcan, he just has so much safety.
Vote could be in a little bit of trouble though, does have the knock-up from the meatball, drops the ultimate of his beat, but Prime had already sealed his fate when he sent over that World Weaver. Remember, Vote has was not able to have any protection there up against the damage from the World Weaver, so we will end up taking a spill.
Good to see Caster's Curse still in effect, though.
Oh, yeah.
I was wondering, it's been a while. It's been like a hot minute since it's come into play, and
yours was the immediate one, too.
It was immediate, yeah. Mine's usually, there isn't like a delay on mine, you know? Some of us, we have like delay functions. You got Hinduman, who's got like the script for the entire year. Mine normally takes anywhere between 2 to 5 seconds to come into effect.
Nice comeuppance. Unfortunately, it's Vote who has to take the hit on that one. He'll take his first spill of the game and settle for completing the boots. Isn't going to be able to quite start working on the Book of Thoth yet, which might be a problem. Ataraxia went right into the stacking department. He'll have that Soul Eater finished before too long, and we'll be able to finish boots up soon as well. Yeah,
Evolved Soul Eater going to give him some very nice stats for this Pele. The ability Lifesteal Sustain is always a pleasantry for the Pele player, and now if he finishes off those Warrior Tabi also, once his Blink comes back up off cooldown, he might have some solo kill potential against Vote. I originally thought that Vote would be incredibly safe there on this Vulcan, but if iRaffer continues paying attention towards the duo side of the map, Vulcan has one hell of a time trying to peel Fenrir off of him.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy for him once he's inside the Brutalize and chasing him down, so he's going to need to make sure that he either just has enough damage to kill him, or that he's in a safe enough position where iRaffer won't want to initiate. But neither of those options looking particularly good just yet as Vote. Not going to let Ataraxia back right in the middle of the lane.
Purple buff is respawning anyway, though, and with the next creep wave having already arrived, Ataraxia will be sure to stick around after acquiring that solo buff XP. CaptainTwig, though, looking for a flank on the backside. Wlfy's going to be the target for now as he's going to roll away, but he doesn't get a chance to get up into that Astral Barrage. Crushing Wave taking care of that.
Doesn't even let him leave the ground. Collis has to use the Somersault Cloud just to survive, and CaptainTwig becoming a real problem, but really this is Prime with the Neith World Weaver that's setting all of this up. It's extra damage, it's stuns to force out cooldowns, and they've been playing around it very well.
And he's had opportunities to just full charge it, so the damage as well that comes immediately after the stun, just a little bit too much for Wlfy to handle, even with a great reaction time on those beads, just not able to make the difference there.
Ice trying to look for this yellow, the speed buff steal, but is not going to be able to make it there. Twig is right around, but I don't think right Ice is here.
I think he knows.
Oh, there it is. He spots him out. He gets the knock-up, and that is that's more than enough damage to this Wheelish, but with iRaffer here, I don't know if he'll be able to make it out. Oh,
Blink
no.
is good from iceicebaby. Watery Gray from Xaliea. Didn't have a chance to connect, and Ice also getting a nice little heal there.
And Ataraxia is showing what this healing can do. Vote had no options against the Volcanic Lightning. Pele removes the Vulcan.
Well, probably not too happy about that one. Just dead before he even has a chance to let anybody from his team respond. But Wlfy and Kalis are here now. They know that this Pele doesn't have an ultimate, and they're hoping to bring him down before iRaffer can come into the fray.
The Tiger Stun was key, but the first shot from Wlfy is even better. iRaffer trades out by removing Kalis. Wlfy lands right back into a problem scenario, but looks like iRaffer can't win that 1v1, so he ends up leaving the Rama alone.
Not much to see over there in solo lane either between Deathwalker and Xaliea. Although, as this game goes on, I imagine that the Hell might have a couple of opportunities to start poking out this Kuzenbo and just sustaining through his reflection damage.
But you're talking about how much does Ataraxia get to, play this Pele. Well, maybe he gets to play a good bit. He certainly seems comfortable on it, at least what we've seen here today. Finds the kill onto Vote alone in the jungle, even there, able to find a trade and the dual lane gank as well. So far, he seems all right. It looks like now he's working on some protections. He has that buckler. Might be going into the Xaliea or the runic shield.
I think it'll be an Xaliea here. That way, just in case Vote gets off the Magma Bomb from an Ataraxia Blinken or Initiation, and then he'll be silenced for that half second that won't allow him to just backfire immediately, so that big burst combo won't come into effect for Ataraxia.
The ultimate from Vote is used just to clear the wave and give him a chance to take a trip to back. It's very likely he'll be finishing off his stacking item, Book of Thoth, perhaps, so he can start getting to work on that. Let's see. Vote, don't keep us waiting. In suspense.
He needs about 50 more gold. He's just sitting in the base waiting for it.
I see.
That's the standard go-to play.
Yeah, 1450, yeah.
Felt a little uncomfortable just waiting around in lane because after using the ultimate, maybe thinking that Ataraxia would aggress onto him if he stayed to get that last little bit. So he took his chances just waiting for the fountain instead. But that will cause him to miss out on some of those creeps that are pushing into the tower just now.
But he's got a new book. Taco, I don't know how much he'll be disappointed. A good book sometimes can make up for even missed some creeps.
Reading is power.
Wlfy might be in trouble. World Weaver's almost enough, but he just barely makes it down. Now it's Kalis forced up onto the cloud. And he's considering where to drop back, and it will be his own tower. But Ataraxia nearby, and he has the blink on this Pele ADC, so he certainly could jump it.
Check out Obey, though. They've already used PrettyPriMe and iRaffer's ultimates, but they're still not deterred. They want more. They want blood, and it's looking like a rival engagement on this red buff.
They're trying to force a fight here around the buff. Kalis, remember, does not have the Somersault Cloud, which is forced out as CaptainTwig drowns him inside the ultimate. That's the first kill of the fight going the way of Obey. And just like that, as quickly as it started, it's over. Obey are out.
This Sun Wukong support not off to the greatest start that you'd want to have for your warrior. Warriors are looked at as support options because they have a lot of early game presence, but with the amount of burst that Twig's been able to exert onto Kalis, we just have not really had many chances, if any, to see Kalis really have his chance to shine.
And the Pyromancer not going to be grabbed either. Recognition there, but Ataraxia caught out iceeicebaby with a great rotation. It looks like the ultimate is what got it done there. They're able to pull Ataraxia back in.
One Magma Bomb is all it takes, and the knockups are just too easy after that. Rival, though, now having to play defense on their mid T1 tower. PrettyPriMe and iRaffer were able to get some decent poke against it. A little bit more than a third of its HP gone so far, but this T1 in duo could very well end up falling here pretty soon. Vote's gotten so much damage against it, and that's one of the advantages as well of being this magical ADC in comparison to the Pele, because Ataraxia has to fully invest all the way underneath that tower range in order to get some real damage going against that T1.
He is going to have a little bit more range than the Assassin would from Ataraxia. Vote with the chance to win lane, but chose not to go for it as Ice blinks into the speed buff, and that might have been necessary with Ataraxia this close. The knockup doesn't land, but iRaffer here, World Weaver gets the stun. Beats there to get him through, and he just needs to jump over the wall, but he goes to the camp instead. iceeicebaby trying to style on him.
And he's dead. That's the end of that. I like the idea there, though, from Deathwalker, the attempt. Vote, though, in a little bit of the same spot here. Gonna egg us out, but the water spout already in range. Backfire couldn't create enough space, so they'll end up falling, and it looks like Wlfy's about to join him.
Prime finds that kill. Wlfy drops right back down to the wolves. Deathwalker should be able to heal up against Xaliea without any trouble, but iceeicebaby perhaps getting a little bit too cute for his own good, ends up falling in the jungle. And now Obey, about 2,000 gold up with a 5v2 power play. Gonna move this right on over to the gold field.
Well, with all these kills in play, Rival surely have to know that Obey are looking towards this bigger objective. And that's the Obey that we've come to know and love. Always objective-minded. This Gold Fury is as free as could be, and it's off of Obey's hard-earned efforts of finding numerous picks in order to take that one down.
And Gold Fury is grabbed by Obey. It was indeed the Onkile. This is, of course, the standard Pele Hunter build. You want to go into that Onkile in the third item?
Are we calling this a standard? This is the first Pele ADC of competitive play, so if we want to label this as a standard, I'm perfectly content with that.
Well, Ataraxia often doesn't build standards as it is, and Twig might be in some trouble. Another big ultimate to reposition World Weaver, just not enough damage. Tiger Stun almost locks Twig down. He looked for the trade. Slow immunity is there to get him away from the horrific emblem, and now Kala's in trouble underneath the tower. I can't believe it. Twig somehow made it out.
That was cute. That was cute between both sides, I think. iceicebaby with the feather step over Twig's water hands, and not only that, but iRaffer, as he was carrying into the tower, that water spout over the wall. Great job by Twig. Good accuracy, and well played to iRaffer to keep it hugged across the wall that closely so that the water spout would be able to connect.
Well, very comfortable so far are the carries for Obey. They have 2 kills there for PrettyPriMe, 2-0-5, 4-1-1 for Twig on the Hobwa. Ataraxia has had a great game on the Pele so far as well, and things starting to get a little dim for Rival. It's still early times here. It's still only about 3,000, nearly 4,000 gold out in front. But giving all these kills to the Hobwa does not feel good.
It's just how dominating these team fights have felt, though. Sure, Rival aren't too far behind in the gold and XP department just yet, but look at Twig. He is all the way on Rival's side of the map, kind of just doing whatever the hell he pleases, because so far, Rival just have not been able to really respond to this Hobwa.
Hollis in some trouble in mid. iRaffer sticking to him. It's Ataraxia, though, who's winning the 1v2 up against Boat. Prime cleans up the kill and is able to take down the Vulcan. iRaffer not done yet. He wants Hollis. The cleanse is there, yes, but Twig has all the damage. Adult swim in the middle lane as he takes down Hollis.
Hollis never even getting the chance to go into that somersault cloud because the crushing wave is just that. It is crushing Hollis for being so under-leveled. 5 levels underneath this Hobwa, and it just barely managed to finish off that Oni Hunter's Garb, so I'm not even sure that that's going to be enough magical defense to suffice.
It'll be some nice help as Wlfy has used the ultimate to try and contest the Pyromancer. Deathwalker is zooming away, and if you're thinking, wow, he's so fast, it's probably that Bumba's. Wlfy now pulled right back into the rest of the team. They got the Watery Grave there. It's enough to lock him down, and Xaliea will notch his first kill of the game, 1-0-3.
But did you see the silence? That's what it's really all about here.
Right. From the Hunter Pele. That really set it all up. Yes.
200 IQ plays. Ataraxia seeing ahead into the future as always.
He's a smart guy, clairvoyant, even sometimes as they make this work. But what about this Bumba here? Because this is a different build than we normally see from our Hells with the Book of Thoth defense boots into the mask.
Well, since Deathwalker has the least amount of deaths on his team so far, actually I take that back. He's tied with iceicebaby.
Right.
So I think the thought process here, if we're joking, to be faster than iceicebaby, that way Obey cannot catch him to give him more deaths.
Right, when they're running away, he'll be faster than Iceice. And Iceice is the one they'll catch.
But on a more serious note, I think that it can be justified in the sense that you want your Hell to have a lot of mobility. That way she can kind of wiggle her way around in the back line looking to heal whoever needs it. The only, or I should say not the only, but one of the downsides of this item is that it does make Deathwalker incredibly squishy.
It absolutely does, but this is something that we've seen from our mages with limited mobility options. I mean, without jumps, without leaps, without dashes, that sort of thing. Like Morgan picks it up all the time. Because that extra movement speed is enough to get you out of so many different scenarios so often, especially when you pair it with well-timed relics, that it often can be enough, and Deathwalker are going to try and make the most of it up against Obey.
But with the T1 tower missing in mid lane already, Finch, I think Rival have started to encounter some difficulties with their experience and farm because Obey have been semi-relentless. I think that we could have definitely seen a little bit more pressure here from Obey considering the lead that they managed to develop at the very start of this one, but they're still playing it smart. They're not looking to throw themselves grossly out of position, and they're just trying to take the fights that they know for a fact they can win.
Deathwalker still a little bit behind Xaliea, but there hasn't been a ton of action between these two soul laners. They've rotated to a couple fights, but for the most part, they've stuck to themselves. It's largely been Twig, I feel like. That's been kind of the driving force for Obey. Prime has been there every time, too, and iRaffer has been ruthlessly aggressive, but this Habois has become a true problem.
It's always kind of funny to me when we can see players very blatantly standing on top of wards, but they just have no idea that those wards are there.
Right.
But you know that Rival knows, and so nothing will ever come about of it. But I always like to try and count to see how long they're going to stick around.
It's unfortunate, really, you know, when you... Like the Ron Jofford announcer pack, when you don't recognize...
Like the Kepri announcer pack.
I don't know, I haven't heard that one. Gold Fury, down below half HP. This is a good ultimate from VOD. It does force them off and force out the backflip from Prime, who's now charging the ultimate himself. Collis about half HP, has to fall back. Wlfy without the ultimate is going to need the Aegis. Almost a pull from Ice Ice, but the beads are better. A double for Twig as he removes Wlfy and Collis in one blow. Ice Ice shuts down Twig, though, and answers back.
Ice Ice not ready to give it up just yet, though. Maga Bomb isn't going to connect onto PrettyPriMe, but these autos are putting in work. PrettyPriMe
Nice
looking for the
arrow.
2v1. He's already brought down VOD. He's looking for iceicebaby next, but instead pan away over to iRaffer because he's chasing Deathwalker through the T2 towers from Rival.
And Deathwalker has to run away, but look how fast he is, especially once he has that Inspire. There's no way you're catching him.
I'm telling you, he had a game plan from the start.
Yeah.
He is not looking to drop dead anytime soon, and Obey are going to have a tough time
Ice
tackling
is here,
this
though.
hell.
Ice is nearby and may have a chance to try and steal. He's going to do it with the leap, but just a little bit too late. Now he's stuck without an escape. Feather Step is enough for him to trade it out. Prime falls. Now Xaliea, yeah, he's going to dash away. You do not want to back us out with the Ice Ice, but this is a potential bait. Ice Ice gets the double, but now Ataraxia is here.
But Ataraxia can't get over the walls as swiftly as iceicebaby. 4-1, and the only sign of life we've really seen so far for Rival. He's trying to get things going. Gold Fury did end up falling in Obey's favor, however. That Awilix jump in just a little bit too late. But it's the thought that counts.
Deathwalker considering the Fire Giant. I think with those 2 kills, they want to try and make use of this time where Prime and Xaliea can't be here. But iRaffer's right nearby. Twig is on his way. Deathwalker keeping the team healed up, but it's not enough. He's half HP. And for now, they fall out of the pit. It's Collis keeping the FG leashed.
But iRaffer's already baited the entirety of Rival to leave this Fire Giant alone. Now Deathwalker going to fall so incredibly low, and an Unchained going to end up bringing him down. Crushing Wave was off the mark, but iceicebaby finds Twig for it.
That makes it 1-for-1 Twig for Deathwalker. Xaliea had already fallen a while ago. Ataraxia jumps back in. The knockup on everyone. And Volcanic Lightning spreads the damage, but Collis with the stun shuts down Ataraxia. Rival may not find the FG, but they win the fight on the back end. And they can't start this up yet.
The rings of fire around the side, the watery grave pushing Vote back into it. Collis trapped inside this Fire Giant as the ring fire is just dealing so much damage to Vote. I think even if the watery grave hadn't brought him down, the tick damage from touching back onto that ring would have.
It certainly would have been enough, but a nice kill from Xaliea to continue bouncing him, you know, into the ring and try and burn him down. So now Rival has answered back here in these last few minutes. They're still down about 6k gold, but we've seen some signs of life from Ice Ice in particular. Collis has looked much better in these last few fights than he has earlier, but Ice Ice really has been the big problem for them. 5-1-2 now on the Awilix.
A little short-sighted, though, from Rival. They didn't leave anybody behind to try and prevent Obey from, after they respawn, going straight for that Pyromancer, so Obey will get yet another global objective in their favor. And more importantly, Obey was able to prevent Rival from getting a Fire Giant that could have very well tied things up.
And they're able to keep the game even because of that. It's or rather in their favor, because they don't allow them to get that FG. But it was scary there for a moment. A couple kills from iceicebaby and an escape was all the window that Rival needed to try and pull that Fire Giant. It's one of the things that they do so well. They do things you don't expect. They recognize their windows. They group up as a team and follow calls cohesively. Rival putting that on display.
And PrettyPriMe back in his natural habitat, the mid lane. Now, for Wlfy on this ROM, he's sitting at a 1-4-3 score line. But I think the main issue he's encountered so far is just how much interrupt there is from Obey. Every single time he's looked for one of these rollouts, he's either been caught out by a watery grave or even the sumo slam. There's CaptainTwig with a water spout and just absurd amounts of burst damage as is. PrettyPrime's got the root and a World Weaver. It's a lot of hard CC, and that can be procced one after the other from Obey. So this was a really well thought out draft.
does shut down this ROM as Collis takes quite a bit of poke from Ataraxia. Wlfy, considering going into the crit build path at this point, already has the Poison Star, working on Wind Demon. Even into the Kuzenbo, that reflect damage could be a problem, but I think correctly recognizing everyone else is relatively squishy.
No fear from Wlfy. That's the way you got to be sometimes if you're gonna be a pro player.
Sometimes what you gotta do. iCeicebaby is yet again in a dangerous area, but can he finagle his way out of this one? iRaffer meets with him first. Ataraxia here, but Deathwalker should join the fray shortly. Worldweaver comes out. He jumps so that he isn't stunned inside the fray. iRaffer can't lock him down. Beads gets away from the Ragnarok. iCeicebaby has baited this entire fight, and he's fine.
I don't think this is the fight that Rival really want to take, though, with the way that they're all trying to push back to their T2 tower. Deathwalker going to be the last one to try and join them. And they basically left this T1 tower on its own. But look at Vote the entire time while Obey Alliance is grouped up on that left-hand side. He's just been split pushing away happily in the solo lane.
Well, as the Hunters often do, he threatens the structure on the right-hand side. That's enough to force Xaliea to teleport over to make sure he doesn't fall. Not much more came of the fight on the left-hand side. They didn't get the Tier 1 tower or really threaten anyone underneath the Tier 2. So despite Ice being so far out and getting caught out, he was able to make it back to his team and without any casualties.
Oh, they know. They know exactly where Vote is at right now, and they're trying to cut him off, but the reinforcements are about to arrive as Rivals iCeicebaby looking to bail out his Hunter. And iRaffer now the one in danger, actually, as Rivals still looking to collapse here in the mid lane.
We're getting to the part of the game where this hell is starting to become a problem. Chronos Pendant and Lotus Crown both completed. An absurd 21,000 healing. That can't be right. It's so much already at just the 26-minute mark, and it's only going to get worse.
Rival haven't really been able to do a whole lot, though, ever since that halt at the Fire Giant. Obey have done a pretty great job at just shutting down that small momentum swing they started going with.
Well, they're going to come back and at least stand near the Fire Giant. They've got some wards down, the Sentry to establish his control. They're not going to pull it just yet. We do see iRaffer, though, grabbing the Lonos right into the Relic Dagger, trying to get these relics off more often, as well as trying to add some extra tankiness that might not normally be there, since Fenrir is an assassin. He wants to play in the support role.
Collis looking to try and get some cudgel damage. Did that even connect onto Xaliea? I don't even think that did damage.
Didn't look like he did any, as he does get stunned out. The cleanse right there from Deathwalker. Knock up from CaptainTwig, sets up good damage. So Ataraxia goes aggressive, and Collis gets removed by CaptainTwig. Boat drops the ultimate at his feet. It does bring Ataraxia quite low, but he should be able to sustain up as Prime finds Wlfy.
There's just no chance of a turnaround here from Rival. They were completely corralled into that narrow jungle corridor, and CaptainTwig simply tore them apart for it. If you're all going to run in the same direction, right on top of the other, and there's a crushing wave that is sure to be your demise.
Ataraxia's timing was key on that one as well on the Pele, as Ice lurks over the wall. I don't know if they recognize he's here, and to continue to bring the Fire Giant lower. But yet again, Ice a little bit too late, and it's Obey who confirmed the objective. 28 minutes in, Fire Giant on all 5 members.
How upset do you think Obey would have been if a Moonlight Charge was the reason why they lost Fire Giant?
Pretty upset. You gotta look around and make sure no one's lurking in the jungle.
Well, now with all 5 members of Obey perfectly healthy, nearly all level 20, the only one missing out is iRaffer, but he's sure to tick in any second now once these wave pushes start to take place. But I think that Obey have just been really clean all throughout this match. They've gotten a little bit off the rails from time to time, chasing Rival around the map, more specifically Deathwalker and iCeicebaby, but credit to Obey for staying predominantly objective-minded on this one.
And credit to iRaffer. He's had a great game on this Fenrir so far as Obey secure the Gold Fury. 5-0-8 so far, middle of the pack in terms of player damage, which is a great boon to get from your support player as well. And he's largely been facilitating everything. He so often demands your beads or demands your ultimates to try and get you through the CC from the Unchained that it's opened up the door for Twig and for Ataraxia to come in and set up big plays.
Wlfy now looking to solo the Pyromancer. It's the only thing that's really been left available on the map. So Rival will do their best to make quick work of it because they do not want to get spotted out and ran down by the likes of Obey Alliance. Obey, if they swoop them up again, I just don't see any chances of survival here for Rival.
Not much chance for this tier 1 and left to survive either, unless Collis wants to stay and defend, but it seems like he certainly does not. Prime able to shred it very, very quickly.
And for some of you at home, maybe wondering, why is CaptainTwig using his water carpet right then and there? It's because he's trying to push the creeps in faster. The minions will actually move faster into the tower line with that water carpet, so really important little sieging tool you can utilize.
The rest of Obey have a chance to collapse into the top side of the tier 2 tower between the Phoenix, but it looks like they're going to fall back instead. They're going to come grab the tier 2 the old-fashioned way with some minions to push up and add some extra gold to their pockets. Ice just barely gets away from the Hobwa damage. So it's only the tier 2 tower and right to look at now if they wanted, though they certainly could give the siege a try. They've got a full mini wave pushed up.
Left-hand Phoenix going to be looked at first here because that is the side, like you just said, Finch, with the creep waves in it. But unfortunately for Obey, they're going to have to wait a couple seconds longer because that creep wave was destroyed almost as quickly as it ran up there.
Wlfy rotated over, so did the rest of Rival. They were able to push the wave back and defend to make sure Obey couldn't grab a Phoenix too easily. They still have another minute or so on this Fire Giant, and they're going to push CaptainTwig and Ataraxia right to deal with Ice. They don't even let him touch the ground. 3v4 over the Phoenix on the left-hand side as Collis aggresses into Prime. He's happy to tank up some damage. They bring the Sun Wukong back out and look for the collapse.
But now it's time for CaptainTwig and for this Pele to maybe start joining the fray. No, Ataraxia is still just a little bit too low, so he's going to try and sustain some in mid-wave, but Vote gonna head on over to prevent the Pele from having that split push effect. Still, PrettyPriMe having some success whacking away on this Phoenix.
Trouble for Deathwalker up against the wall. Twig can't find the ultimate, but Xaliea cleans the kill up anyway. Left side Phoenix is down, and iRaffer has to try and avoid the snipes coming out from Wlfy. He does, and he manages to survive. And Ataraxia finds Boat, but can't find Volcanic Lightning. But it's okay, Twig gets Wlfy anyway.
That should do it, though, Finch. A quick D aside to a pretty one-sided match here between Obey and Rival. And I think this little experimentation process from Rival had the opposite effect. Well, actually, no, it was a success. They definitely know that this one won't work out.
Yes, if what they were trying to do was see how these picks would end up working up against the top-end team, well, then now they should know pretty well that it wasn't getting it done. Obey looked very, very clean in game number 1. A D aside to round it out, and really, it was largely to do with that Hobwa, never really an answer from Rival.
And it kind of just stems from the pressure that iRaffer was able to provide in the dual lane. He got off some really nice Fenrir poke aggression early on, started to rotate over into mid, and really began assisting. Once he started playing assistant to CaptainTwig inside of those jungle fights, I think that's where things really started to crumble here for this Rival composition.
And I like Prime on this Neith as well. That World Weaver was a key tool, especially in their early aggressions. It was either the stuns or the damage, forcing out relics, forcing out leaps from his opponent, setting up for the rest of the team. Ataraxia making Pele look like maybe she can go over there in the hunter role as well. Obey flexing a little bit outside their normal god pool, but making it work.
Ataraxia did have the solo kill against Vote, so Vote's going to have to keep that one in mind. I think we can expect to see some sparks fly over there in the dual lane because we all know Vote's going to be looking for his revenge.
Yeah, now that becomes the question, right? What's Rival's response in game number 2, right? They can't just take this one laying down. Maybe they got some ideas for it over on the desk. We'll certainly see. Give us your thoughts on game 1.
Domination. That's really the only word that I can say to really describe how that first game went. Obey really putting on a clinic that game, totally.
Absolutely. I think a lot of it came down to the Neith middle. I think PrettyPriMe was able to make that matchup a little bit easier for Ataraxia, playing the Pele up against Vote's Vulcan. It was a little bit of shenanigans, I would say, from both teams.
Well, looking here at the post-game stats brought to you by Axis Replay, we can see where a lot of the story was. PrettyPriMe 5-1 on that Neith, but CaptainTwig 11 kills of his own on that jungle Hobwa.
That's what Hobwa does. He just brings in the pain. It doesn't matter if it's mid or jungle.
He was doing great work, but I gotta say, Ataraxia was preaching this Pele ADC to me all week. He said, just wait, I'll show it to you. And the scoreline may not look perfect, but he did a ton of damage this game. He was a huge factor in these team fights for Obey, consistently being the initiator for them with these blink eruptions. He played it well. I'm still not sold. It's better than Pele jungle, but he played it well.
Outside of iCeicebaby for a Rival, everyone else kind of struggling from that department. I like the experimentation factor by having Deathwalker in Hell solo lane, but Vulcan for Vote. a little questionable about how that was going to work out, considering there was just a lot of pressure, I think, specifically from CaptainTwig in mid or jungle, and also PrettyPriMe on the Neith mid.
And this really felt like this was the pace setter of the game here for Obey. Y'all mentioned earlier to focus out the hell, make sure that she is irrelevant come late game, and it really does feel like this First Blood did that.
And outside of that, like, it slowed her down a little bit. She still got to the late game. By that point, everyone else from Rival was just too far behind to be a factor, even going for the Bomba's Mask, delaying a little bit of her damage and tankiness, but just to be able to get that mobility available.
That Bumba's felt a little bit odd to me. I mean, I don't know that that's exactly what you're looking for, because it doesn't only decrease the damage that you do, but it decreases the healing that you do. The only way that I think the Bumba's Mask works is if your entire job as Hell Solo is to be Cleanse Bot. But if your entire job is to be Cleanse Bot, I think Gab might just be better. It's only single target, sure, but it lets you take so much more damage than something like the Hell could.
At that point, he was just too far behind from the First Blood.
I think Taco said it best. I think he just wanted to make sure that he got out of the fight first, so that way he had less deaths on his team there. Able to outrun the jungler. It's not often that you can outrun an Awilix on Suku, but more importantly, onto that one, it really felt like after that First Blood, their target was getting the duo lane out of duo lane. We saw Kalas making a lot of early rotations that just really didn't benefit them.
No, it didn't really make too much happen, but iRaffer certainly did on this Fenrir. We've seen this from a lot of different players in this tournament, actually playing this Fenrir support to great success.
He played it very, very well. The Lono's Mask towards the mid game, right as he's starting to lose that tankiness from where he is in the game, he gets it back with that Lono's Mask. He was consistently disruptive. His horrific emblems were always well timed. iRaffer played very well on this Fenrir support, and that's no surprise. Former jungler from way back in the day, should have some familiarity with the assassin tab, and just this is the type of aggressive pick that I expect iRaffer to do well with.
And he really did perform very well with it in this game. I think he got 5 or 6 kills of his own. I don't recall him having a death. May have had one there at the very end, but iRaffer really coming up big for his team on that assassin support. Moving on to the next game here. Obviously, these games don't matter as far as elimination wise, but it is still a seeding based matchup. You do still want to have your best opportunity going in. Do we see a complete flip here from Rival in their rotation, in their picks and bans here to get something that could potentially win this for them?